Ow. Are they all going behind you? Thank you.
I don't know why.
We had a bunch of good prototypes that for shooters, and we wanted to continue working on those today like we talked about yesterday. So we had the two-wheel shooter and the flicker shooter, and both of them worked pretty okay. Last night and this morning we had some discussions internally about the flicker shooter. We thought it was consistent. We weren't really 100% sure how we were going to make it more powerful. We knew that we could probably use some thicker materials, maybe mess around with some of the dimensions. It's going to take a little bit of work to engineer it into a robot. I still think it'll be very consistent, but in our time frame and our resources, we didn't think that the flicker shooter really met the goals that we needed. We do know of one other shooter that we hadn't prototyped yet, and that's the single wheel shooter with a hood.
Guys, I can do it! Ah, real boy!
So we watched some of our slow-mo footage last night, and we saw when we were hand loading, the balls weren't really going in straight and nice. So one of the first things we did was just build the hood that would be easier to load them really consistent, and immediately we saw probably double or triple the performance that we were getting out of the double wheel or the flicker shooter. This system mechanically and electrically is a lot simpler than the two-wheel shooter. Packaging is going to be a lot smaller. We knew the chassis was smaller. So we pushed forward and we've built this mechanism that you see on the robot. We've mocked up and started manufacturing the hopper that goes around it. The idea is to drive up to the human load or the hopper if you want to get more. The big important ones being able to shoot those 10 balls. We've got a Andy Mark Neverest 60 motor that's working a little indexer. That's just a little simple wheel with one of the stealth wheels. We took it right off the FTC robot. That's bringing the balls in. Now we're definitely seeing some jamming. We've seen some different situations where the balls are already getting into weird positions, which we knew was going to be a problem. But it seems like if you can keep it clear, it shoots very, very consistently. We kept hitting the ceiling on pretty much the same spot the entire time. This is still our third level goal. We know the climber's pretty good. The gear mechanism, which Andrew's going to talk to you about, definitely needs some more work, but he's got some great stuff going, and check it out what he's doing.
Today we got a lot farther on our gear grabber. Yesterday we had sort of a cardboard and metal prototype that we used with our hands. We modeled a very simple sheet of metal that we could bend on our brake. In order to cut that, we made a flat template and then cut it out of cardboard first, so we can use this as a stencil to cut two pieces and then make the opposite bends on each piece so that they were symmetrical on the robot. The next thing we're working on now is mounting our shooter and our gear grabber. We did mount a single pneumatic piston on the back. It opens up both claws enough to allow the gear to come out of the robot. To finish mounting this system, it's going to be integrated into a lot of other systems that are on our robot, so probably be one of the last things that we do mount. But right now we have it sort of mocked up in its final location. Working with the gear is going to pose a very interesting challenge. The gear doesn't necessarily slide down into the gear grabber as well as we had hoped. We have a lot of different variables that can cause it to not move properly along the field. Hopefully that you won't have to use another gear to get it moving into the robot and then waste a gear in the process. Generally, it'll fall pretty nicely.
Day 2 is a wrap. We made a lot of progress today. It's starting to look like a robot. We have tested all the volumes and we've done the layout for all the mechanisms and starting to integrate them together. Tomorrow we're going to be working on the gear gobbler and putting the rope climber mechanism on the robot and final integration. We still have to work on our agitation, and of course we have to wire the entire robot all together. So big day tomorrow, but we feel like we're on track and it's going to go well.
$1.